If you're a facilities manager at a university, you know students rely on the cafeteria for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and the occasional late-night snack. So when a dishwasher breaks down and dirty plates pile up, the mess hall can turn messy in the blink of an eye. Enter Grainger. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast delivery, the product you need now is never far away. So you can turn that dishwasher back into a lean, clean washing machine. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
If you're a maintenance supervisor for a commercial property, you've had to deal with everything from leaky faucets to flickering light bulbs. But nothing's worse than that ancient boiler that's lived in the building since the day it was built, 50 years ago. It's enough to make anyone lose their cool. That's where Grainger comes in. With industrial-grade products and dependable fast delivery, Grainger can help with any challenge, from worn-out components to everyday necessities. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Over the past 75 years, more than 10,000 chemicals have entered our food supply, but the EU allows just 300 additives. At Thrive Market, we prioritize quality, banning over 1,000 ingredients found in conventional grocery stores. Our Healthy Swap scanner helps you find better versions of your pantry essentials without the junk, dyes, or fillers, and everything is delivered right to your doorstep. So shop at a grocery store that actually cares about your health at thrivemarket.com/get started for 30% off your first order and a free $60 gift.
Have you ever thought about opening your own mobile cart or kiosk business? Maybe the facility you manage could establish new revenue by adding coffee, food, or retail services. Cart King International can be the answer to your needs. Cart King is a North American designer and manufacturer of the finest mobile coffee, food, and retail carts and kiosks. Cart King has been working with clients and corporations across North America for 20 years, providing innovative designs, custom manufacturing, and timely delivery. Carts and kiosks are fun, and so are the dozens of designs on our website. Please visit us today at www.cart-king.com or just call us at 1-877-986-7771 and get your sales rolling.
If you find yourself in need of legal representation, it can be a very stressful time in your life. In my career, I have dealt with thousands of lawyers, I've dealt with thousands of law firms, and I can confidently recommend to you Keith M. Davidson at kmdlaw.com. Available 24 hours, 7 days a week. Just log into kmdlaw.com. That's kmdlaw.com. Or you can call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. That's 833-4KMD-LAW. Personal injury, wrongful death, STDs, sexual assault, car accidents. They handle it all efficiently and professionally. It doesn't matter how imposing the opposition may be, because the team at kmdlaw.com are battle-tested and fierce. They will not stop until justice prevails. Go to kmdlaw.com or call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. If you're in for the fight of your life, stop screwing around and contact KMD Law. PureSoapFlakes.com, 218-568-2525. Have you ever heard of Castile Soap? Pure Soap Flake Company handcrafts fine soap bars, laundry powder, and concentrated soap flakes using organic vegetable oils from their northern Minnesota facility. Bathe your body and wash your clothes with Pure Soap products that are free of fragrance, GMOs, palm oil, sodium lauryl sulfate, and synthetic additives. Keep it clean, folks. Pure Soap Flake Company products are kind to living creatures and sensitive skin, safe for drains and waterways, and work great in high-efficiency washers and top and front-loading machines. They have a little promotion going on. Contact them to order some soap. Mention the Opperman Report. You're going to get a free gift. They're going to send a little extra soap, travel size, soap bars and laundry soap, cleaning soap flakes. I've been using that stuff all day long today. Great stuff. Order today at puresoapflakes.com or give them a call, 218-568-2525, 218-568-2525. Pure Soap Flake Company is a proud member of the Handcrafted Soap and Cosmetic Guild. The Opperman Report is brought to you by Aquadam.net. You can give them a call at 707-764-2119. A flooded home is never easy to deal with. You're left with the mess to clean up, the insurance companies to deal with, and not to mention all the memories, the precious memories that are lost in the flood. You can never replace those. And Aquadam can be a tool in your arsenal to protect your home and property from the floodwaters. The cofferdam is filled with water to control water and is reusable as long as it's taken care of. It can protect your home or business from rising floodwaters like a dam, but without the beavers. It can also be used in construction. If you need an area to be dewatered, an aquadam can do the job. An aquadam was used at SeaWorld in Orlando for the Mako roller coaster ride during the coaster's construction by dewatering the work area. An aquadam is now dewatering the work area at San Antonio SeaWorld for their newest roller coaster ride. An aquadam has been used in many construction projects all around the U.S. and all around the world. Now give Aquadam a call, 707-764-2119. You can look them up online at aquadam.net. You can find them on Facebook at Aquadam Inc. You call them up, you email them, you tell them Ed Opperman sent you, and they're going to take 10% off the price. Aquadam.net, 707-764-2119.
It's the Opperman Report. Join digital forensic investigator and PI Ed Opperman for an in-depth discussion of conspiracy theories, strategy of New World Order resistance, high-profile court cases in the news, and interviews with expert guests and authors on these topics and more. It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Okay, welcome to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, private investigator Ed Opperman. You can find me at Opperman Investigations and Digital Forensic Consulting through my website, emailrevealer.com, or you can just email me at oppermaninvestigations@gmail.com. If you like our show today, check out oppermanreport.com. We have an exclusive membership section with all kind of podcasts and stuff like that you won't find anywhere online, anywhere. The archives are always free. You go to Spreaker.com, you sign up there for free, and you follow the show. You get an email notification with new content. And if you go to Spreaker.com, you'll find a previous interview that we did about this topic here, about the Bridgewater Triangle. We did with Stephen Bracia, who's a news reporter there that saw this big, giant flying UFO. But today we have Alan Alves, who's a former police officer in that area, and now he runs SouthCoastHypnosis.com. He's a hypnotism guy. Alan Alves, are you there?
Yes, I am. How you doing?
Thank you so much for coming on the show. Tell us about yourself. Who is Alan Alves?
Well, I was a police officer for 30 years at the town of Freetown, retired as a detective lieutenant. After being introduced to hypnosis when I worked on a homicide case, I got very interested in hypnosis and how it can help you and help people. So when I was getting near retirement, I went and I got trained. I went to Florida, got trained in hypnosis, basic, intermediate, and advanced, got my board certification, and a certified instructor. I now teach it. I teach people to be hypnotists. And it was just a continuation of helping the public, I guess you might say.
Yeah, I actually do some self-hypnosis. I get those YouTube videos, and I'll do a little self... Yeah, what do you think of those? Do you recommend that or what?
Yeah, it helps. It helps. You have to understand how hypnosis works. That's the most important thing to make it work. And what we call the pre-talk, or the explaining how hypnosis works, because it's not the hypnotist has any magic. It's you, and the hypnotist just brings out the magic in you. There's, to fix things in your life, and help from a variety of different things, whether it's an addiction or smoking or weight loss or that sort of thing, depression. We work with that. It's no miracle cure. However, some of the results are miraculous.
I would agree. I've had some good results, especially dealing with addictions and stuff like that. When you quit drinking, it's great to help those cravings and stuff, and for confidence and motivation, energy. Oh yeah, I definitely. Now, what about you? Do you do them? Because you said before we started the show that with COVID-19 that you're kind of closed up right now. But what about you? How about Zoom hypnosis sessions or tapes and videos? Do you do that?
Yeah, well, I do it if I have to. I don't. Yeah. I don't believe it's going to get the same results as an in-person session. But when someone's in hypnosis, I like to make sure that I'm still in charge in case, something happens on the other end you don't know, or, the person falls asleep. Instead of going into hypnosis, you got to be able to know that and so forth. So I feel more comfortable in person than Zoom or anything like that.
Yeah, I can see that. Also, too, sometimes when I will fall asleep. I'll listen to one on YouTube and I'll fall asleep. And then the next video starts, and who the hell knows what that's going to be about? That could be anything. That's now,
Absolutely.
Yeah, that could cause more harm than good. So you were a police officer in the Bridgewater at the Freetown State Forest. That was your beat?
Part of that, yeah. Freetown's a huge town, and we have the Freetown State Forest, which is part of the town. And actually expands into Fall River.
And what was your daily routines as a cop down there?
I'm sorry?
Your daily routine as a cop down there. What was your specialty? What were you doing?
Well, when I was a patrolman for the first 4 or 5 years on my department. Then I got promoted to detective, and so I did all the major crime investigations. And normally Freetown would be a nice, quiet place with hardly any crime, but we border on 3 major cities over here in the South Coast, and we border on 5 other towns. So we have more than our share of crime. So, so did mostly investigations and major crimes from, homicides, the rapes, the drugs, and that sort of thing.
And were there an unusual number of homicides in that area?
Yes, there was. Matter of fact, in my career, my 30-year career, I was involved or investigated about 18, 20 homicides.
And I noticed... Yeah, go ahead.
No, including the highway serial murders where 9 girls had been murdered and dumped along the highways of the South Coast here.
And was that serial killer ever found?
No, it's an open investigation. Has been for over 30 years. I believe it can be solved and may be solved by a new movie coming out.
Oh, really? So now this serial killer murdered 9 people. Do you have a suspect in mind? There was a couple of suspects, but the remains were found, 2 months later in the middle of summer. So there was a lack of evidence because of, the weather and the animals and so forth in the bushes and so forth. The bodies weren't found early enough to get any, DNA or anything like that from a possible suspect. So, which made it harder. Did you ever have an opportunity to interrogate possible suspects in that case?
Oh, yeah, a lot of people were interviewed.
Okay.
A lot of people were interviewed.
And do you think that's the work of one man or a group?
It appears to be a work of one person.
Okay. But now, some of the other crimes up there, you believe are a result of a group of the occult?
Yeah, we had, back in the 70s and 80s, we had a lot of issues and problems with cult worship and Satanism and so forth.
Now, is this a specific group that you identified? Did they have a name?
No, there was different groups. First, we experienced what we called dabblers when I first got on, and I had to ride with the lieutenant, and we'd see these people in the state forest with robes and so forth. But elderly lieutenant just said those were hippies left over from the 60s. But that couldn't be any further from the truth. I started looking at it and finding different remnants of satanic activity and so forth. Of course, at that time, I didn't know what I was looking at, so I felt like I was in a movie because I'd be at the libraries looking at all these old books on the runic alphabet and occults and stuff like that to find out what I was working with. And we found a lot of items, what you indicated, from graffiti to different ritual places where rituals had taken place with animals and bones and so forth. and so forth. Some were dabblers, some were serious about it. So as we were looking into one, there was a group that was getting very serious in mostly they did rituals here in Freetown forest and so forth, and they even built a hut in the middle of the woods. It was well constructed, well insulated, which we found where they did their rituals and so forth. And subsequently later there was some sacrificial homicides in the next city right over Fall River, but it was by these people that were acting up in the Freetown Fall River State Forest, and then sacrificial homicides took place in the city of Fall River and in the town of Westport, which is adjoining.
Sacrificial homicides, human sacrifice.
Yes, humans, yes.
Okay, and what were these young ladies, young men? What was the story with that?
Yeah, there were three different ladies, allegedly prostitutes. There was a person who actually headed the cult by the name of Carl Drew and Robin Murphy, basically the pimps. And they ran the show, kept them prostitutes in line by fear of the cult and so forth. And subsequently, three girls were murdered in a sacrificial type, what appeared to be sacrificial. We know they were in that group and so forth. Two people were arrested. Carl Drew was arrested. Robin Murphy were arrested and charged and found guilty and sentenced to prison.
Did Murphy and Drew ever name any other participants in these murders?
There was some. I didn't work on the homicides directly because district attorneys takes over when it comes to homicides. They're totally in charge. And where these homicides, even though a lot of the activities took place in my jurisdiction, the actual homicides took place just outside of my district, and Fall River Police were investigating it, and the DA's office, and I just assisted terrifically.
Well, did you come upon any information that perhaps they were involved with the larger groups nationwide? No positive information. They were related. In that case, we had some other cases that seemed to be aware. When I started involved in these investigations of satanic and cult worship and so forth,
Did you know that parents rank financial literacy as the #1 most difficult life skill to teach? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app for families. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on your kids' spending with real-time notifications. Kids learn to earn, save, and spend wisely, and parents can rest easy knowing their kids are learning about money with guardrails in place. Try Greenlight risk-free today at greenlight.com/audio.
I was behind the eight ball. I didn't even know what I was looking at. And so I had to learn. I had to study and everything else. And I found there were other groups in California and Ohio. Sandy Gallant, detective in San Francisco, and chief of police in Titlin, Ohio. They were having the same problems that we were having with sacrificing animals and pigeons and these rituals and so forth. And so I connected with them, and they were involved in what's called the Cult Awareness Network, where we exchanged information. And it was because when one person describes the rituals and describes this and that, and even kids that might have been involved, the stories were exactly the same in San Francisco and in Tiplin, Ohio. They didn't even know each other or been able to compare notes, but everything seemed to be done the same way. And it seemed like they were connected, but there was no evidence
And these two men that were convicted, Drew and I believe you said Murphy?
Robin Murphy, it was a female.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, a male or female. Now, were there other members of their cult that you believe were involved in this activity that walked away and got away with this?
They're not alive anymore, so.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But you believe that there were others involved that did not go to prison?
Yeah, one died before he went to prison, and there was some peripherals that might have been there but didn't take part in the actual homicide.
And the one who died, was it a suspicious death? Do you believe that he was silenced, or was it natural causes, overdose?
Yeah, it was mostly natural causes, yeah.
Gotcha. Now, in your investigation of these matters and talking to other detectives across the country, did you ever come across the name of the Process Church of the Final Judgment?
Yeah, vaguely. That sounds familiar, but, we're talking 40 years ago.
I hear you. I hear you. I'm getting up there myself, my friend. Okay.
So,
yeah.
It was funny. It was funny when the media started picking up some of the stuff that I was finding and so forth. I was called the cult cop and the Ghostbuster cop and so forth until the things started happening in their areas and so forth. So they would call me when they found goat's heads or graffiti, or they found blood here and there. And it grew bigger and bigger until it hit the media and so forth, and everybody was calling me an expert. I was no expert by any means. I had more knowledge because I had been doing it longer and had been studying and so forth. And the media started calling me an expert, and then I started getting calls from Europe and calls from involving that Matamoros case in Mexico.
Sure.
So it was pretty unbelievable how big it grew and how it was connected in that way.
I was watching the film, The Bridgewater Triangle, okay, which are featured prominently in that film, and you were describing your investigation into that hut, and you said that you wanted to go back there with dogs, cadaver dogs, and search for more evidence, but this was they put the kibosh on that. Well, what do you make of that?
I'd rather not comment that, but I just the person that ran the dogs was willing to do it. We made an appointment, but then it got canceled for some reason. I got a feeling it was politics. I had a lot of problems with politics as far as all the real estate value in the area is going to go down. People are not going to come to the state forest stuff. So there was a lot of political pressure on me to, not cover it up, but not, advertise it so much.
Well, let's face it. If there's a serial killers and satanic cults, it does affect property values and tourism, right? So you gotta be. We have to take that into consideration as well, right, Alan?
That's true. But when somebody is committing a crime, then I got to look into it.
Yeah.
They have a right to practice their own religion. If they want to really worship Satan, that's up to them because of freedom of religion. But while they're exercising their right to freedom of religion, I got to make sure they're not violating other people's rights or violating any laws.
No, even animal abuse is enough to draw the line there too. You can't go along with that. Now, but besides this bunker, you also besides the hut that you described, this cabin or this hut, there was also an underground bunker. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, there was some hunters found an underground bunker. It was like unbelievable. You could walk right by it and not even know it, depending on how you approached it. And it looked like level ground and nothing there. But then you go underneath, and in the bunker underneath was dolls with their eyes punched out and red stuff to simulate blood on them. There was even a small chair made out of a tree stump, only for a child to be in, and it had rubber bands in which you can bind somebody, bindings on the chair. And so it was somewhat connected. We couldn't prove it beyond a doubt, but it was connected with some ritual abuse of children. That later was brought back to a house where rituals were taking place, and the parents were arrested, the stepchildren were taken away, and so forth, in a ritualistic cult thing. And the DA had that at first, when it first appeared in the paper. That's how it appeared. But then political pressure made them say it was a satanic cult. It was just child abuse. It was like nobody wanted the media. I mean, the people that read didn't want Freetown, this area, to be noticed of cult worship and satanic thing. They didn't want to hear that. They wanted a blind eye to it, but I just couldn't do that.
And you're convinced that this bunker was connected to this family that was abusing their children in ritualist abuse?
Yes, and the reason why the DA indicated he didn't want that to be part of it, because he felt the jury wouldn't understand it, and there might be a possibility that they would try to plead not guilty because of insanity, because they belong in a cult and stuff, and it would only muddy the waters on getting a conviction. So they wanted to go with a simple child abuse, molestation type thing, and that's what they did.
Now, did you ever witness any kind of indications that this cult activity could have reached into high political position of power or high places in the police force or local government or local clergy, anything like that, in mainstream life?
Yeah, we had a huge investigation regarding that, and it was politically squashed. It was we had a assistant U.S. attorney working on it, and the FBI was working on it. They said there was no such thing as a satanic cult, not sort of thing. They wouldn't want to believe it. Then finally, I was told that finally the FBI was going to recognize it, and they were signing this FBI agent to handle that. And as soon as he came back from his vacation, we were going to have a meeting and discuss it. He went on vacation in Europe, and he had an accident and was killed in Europe, and never heard about the satanic cult activity again regarding FBI.
Well, that's fascinating. Did you find that suspicious?
Well, don't you?
Yeah, well, if they don't assign a guy goes on vacation, never comes back, you know. Hey, Alan, we got a guy to come help you.
Yeah, and nobody to replace him.
Yeah. Now,
so,
what about your personal career? Did you receive experience any repercussions due to your work in this area?
I was going through 30 years of hell with the department as it was, because I was the first minority in the town, the police department, highway department, school department, you name it. So I went through some serious discrimination, and I ended up in a 10-year court battle. Reported to the Massachusetts Commission Against Discrimination. They didn't believe what I had brought to them, and after they investigated, they determined that everything was right, and I ended up winning the highest award ever in the history of the Massachusetts Commission Against Discrimination. So I was battling that for my whole career, along with working with the cult and all the other crimes. So
I got to take my hat off to you, man. I tell you, this hasn't been an easy road for you. It's been an uphill battle. Now, when you would approach these bunkers and these cabins and stuff like that, these hastily made structures, could you feel like evil, the presence of evil around these places? What did you experience?
Even to this day, if you go into the state forest, there's just a feeling. And if you go at night, the hair on your arms will stand up. It's just a strange feeling. It's very eerie, very eerie. I don't think I've ever been anywhere where I felt that uncomfortable in the Freetown State Forest, especially at night.
And did you have to go alone by yourself, or did you have a partner with you in the car?
Usually I worked by myself. Later on, I got a partner. We worked on some of the grave robberies in the state forest. There's a lot of people were buried in the state forest. And people would rob the graves. They even went into the cemetery and broke into a coliseum and exhumed the body from the coliseum and cut the head off, and because they used the skull in their rituals and so forth. They drink blood from the skull.
Yeah, and I believe that case, there were some teenagers who did that, and they originally said that they had to do that to join a cult?
Yeah, and then there was two stories. They were trying to join a cult, and then another one, they wanted to sell the skull because they could get $500 for that skull in New York. But I arrested them all, and two of them were juveniles. One was an adult. They left their head behind because the smell was so bad they had to get it out of the car, and they threw it in the bushes.
Well, now, if you're investigating this, what led you to these kids, by the way? How'd you connect them?
They were suspicious with someone who was like the head of the local cult, I guess you might want to say.
Yeah.
And they were influenced by him, and he did some. He desecrated during Christmas a manger in the church, broke into the church, desecrated the manger, and so forth. And he was arrested, and then we found out that they were pretty active here, but they were more or less dabblers, not the real deep Satanists. But we were able to investigate and through witnesses and so forth, tire marks and everything else, we were able to identify the suspects, and we got a confession.
And were you convinced with their explanation, or do you think these kids were involved in something more? And what about the rest of their life? Did they go on to this kind of what happened to the rest of their life? Where'd they wind up?
They wound up okay.
Okay.
Like I said, they were dabblers. They were really big into it. They were just, you had a lot of dabblers. The young people got into it. The music and so forth was all, pointed that way. It was mostly the way you live: sex, drugs, rock and roll, And but it was very attractive to a lot of the strange people. I mean, like back then, if somebody was a serial rapist or a serial murderer or a serial child molester, you could just look at them and they were having an internal strife inside because they knew what they were doing was wrong, but they couldn't help but do it. And then all of a sudden along comes a religion that can justify your deviant behavior. Molesting children is okay, murder's okay, rape's okay. So they could justify their deviant behavior, and they could walk amongst us without any of that strife you see in their face normally or whatever. So that's it.
Did you know that parents rank financial literacy as the #1 most difficult life skill to teach? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app for families. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on your kids' spending with real-time notifications. Kids learn to earn, save, and spend wisely, and parents can rest easy knowing their kids are learning about money with guardrails in place. Try Greenlight risk-free today at greenlight.com/audio.
Made it harder to find these people. You know, now that they walk amongst us and you don't even know if somebody's a traumatized, you might read it. Wow, this guy's a teacher. And I got one that was a police officer. You would never notice it because if you check into it further, you can figure out that, they got a whole bunch of different standards which they go by. And usually it's related to Satanism or occultism.
Now, Alan, when you're investigating these people and arresting them, they're involved in occult murders, sacrificial crimes, are you then nervous? Hey, I just arrested these 2 guys, but there's 20 other guys that are with them that all believe the same stuff, and now I got a target on my back.
Well, as a police officer, you always got a target on your back. So they don't have any more power than the average person. So if they're going to come after me, they're going to come after me. Whether it's a bank robber or a child molester or a Satanist or whatever, that's part of the job. So I never worried about that.
Okay.
And as far as the cult and stuff, it was so funny. I used to get calls from ministers or priests and stuff, send me notes that they were praying for me and so forth. So it was not bad. When you're young, you're kind of a little crazy.
That's good to hear that. All these guys praying for you.
You believe you're invulnerable, invincible.
I remember. Okay, it's a good time to take a commercial break. We're with Alan Alves, and he's the head of the South Coast Hypnosis Center. You can find him at southcoasthypnosis.com. And we're talking about his participation in this film, The Bridgewater Triangle, and his police investigations into occult activity and strange behavior. We're going to be talking about, when we come back, about the ledge, where a lot of mysterious stuff happened there, too. There was another murder of a young lady named Mary Lou Aruda tied to a tree down there. And also, too, the mysterious deaths in this lake that was only 8 feet deep, and brings back thoughts of the smiley face killers. We'll be right back with more of Alan Alves, southcoasthypnosiscenter.com. We'll be right back after these messages. And now a word from our sponsors. If you find yourself in need of legal representation, it can be a very stressful time in your life. In my career, I have dealt with thousands of lawyers, I've dealt with thousands of law firms, and I can confidently recommend to you Keith M. Davidson at kmdlaw.com. Available 24 hours, 7 days a week. Just log into kmdlaw.com. That's kmdlaw.com. Or you can call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. That's 833-4KMD-LAW. Personal injury, wrongful death, STDs, sexual assault, car accidents, they handle it all efficiently and professionally. It doesn't matter how imposing the opposition may be, because the team at kmdlaw.com are battle-tested and fierce. They will not stop until justice prevails. Go to kmdlaw.com or call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. If you're in for the fight of your life, stop screwing around and contact KMD Law.
Are you ready to change your life, but don't know how to start? Is your stress and worries keeping you awake at night? Have you been battling grief, anxiety, or depression all alone? Have you lost touch with your own sense of being or spirituality? Soul Free Therapies offers professional and affordable live video streaming counseling and coaching services from the comfort of your own home. Sessions offered in English, Spanish, and Portuguese. Go to our website at www.soul-free.com and book your first session today.
The Opperman Report is brought to you by Aquadam.net. You can give them a call at 707-764-2119. A flooded home is never easy to deal with. You're left with the mess to clean up, the insurance companies to deal with, and not to mention all the memories, the precious memories that are lost in the flood. You can never replace those. An AquaDam can be a tool in your arsenal to protect your home and property from the floodwaters. The cofferdam is filled with water to control water and is reusable as long as it's taken care of. It can protect your home or business from rising floodwaters like a dam, but without the beavers. It can also be used in construction. If you need an area to be dewatered, an AquaDam can do the job. An AquaDam was used at SeaWorld in Orlando for the Mako roller coaster ride during the coaster's construction by dewatering the work area. An AquaDam is now dewatering the work area at San Antonio SeaWorld for their newest roller coaster ride. An AquaDam has been used in many construction projects all around the U.S. and all around the world. Now give AquaDam a call, 707-764-2119. You can look them up online at aquadam.net. You can find them on Facebook at Aquadam Inc. You call them up, you email them, you tell them Ed Opperman sent you, and they're going to take 10% off the price. Aquadam.net, 707-764-2119. PureSoapFlakes.com, 218-568-2525. Have you ever heard of Castile Soap? Pure Soap Flake Company handcrafts fine soap bars, laundry powder, and concentrated soap flakes using organic vegetable oils from their northern Minnesota facility. Bathe your body and wash your clothes with Pure Soap products that are free of fragrance, GMOs, palm oil, sodium lauryl sulfate, and synthetic additives. Keep it clean, folks. Pure Soap Flake Company products are kind to living creatures and sensitive skin, safe for drains and waterways, and work great in high-efficiency washers and top and front-loading machines. They have a little promotion going on. Contact them to order some soap. Mention the Opperman Report. You're going to get a free gift. They're going to send a little extra soap, travel size, soap bars and laundry soap, cleaning soap flakes. I've been using that stuff all day long today. Great stuff. Order today at puresoapflakes.com or give them a call, 218-568-2525, 218-568-2525. Pure Soap Flake Company is a proud member of the Handcrafted Soap and Cosmetic Guild.
It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Okay, welcome back to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, Private Investigator Ed Opperman. We're here today with Alan Alves. Okay, he was a former police detective for many, many years in the city of Freetown, and he's been a part of this film called The Bridgewater Triangle. He also now runs the SouthCoastHypnosis.com, where he instructs people on how to become hypnotists, and he also practices as a hypnotist himself. Telling these stories, Alan, it's like it's so matter-of-factly. I tell you, man, you've lived some life there.
Yeah, crazy life, yeah.
Yeah, now tell us about the ledge.
The ledge is in the state forest. It's about you can get to the top, and then there's about a 60-foot drop to the water. Water's being fed by underground streams and so forth. Was all dug out for the rock, for the quarry, because that was nice rock, and it was used in building of the Newport mansions because they love the rocks in that area. And it left a hole that's filled with water from underground streams. And we had a lot of activity there in the state forest, from people committing suicide, jumping off the top, from cars going over into the water and so forth. A lot of people saw strange activity there. At one time, I sent divers down there to see what we could find there. But the water's so murky because it's fed by underground streams. You can't see your hand in front of you. It's so thick. So weren't able to to find anything worthwhile down there when we dive. But it's quite a spot that's attracted a lot of people. Young people used to jump off there and dive and go swimming. But there was a lot of strange activity that we experienced there. I do not like it personally. I talk to other people who get on that ledge, and if you walk too close to the edge, all of a sudden I have a strange feeling. It's hard to explain about jumping off there, going off there. Something pulling you to go off there. It was just a strange feeling, and I thought it was just me because of the height. But I talked to a lot of people who experience that same feeling. They won't get too close to that edge because they feel something pulling telling them to go off. So,
what about these cars that you talk about? First of all, how would they get up there? And were these people in the car going off, or just pushing the car off?
Just stolen cars, dumping them off. Okay. There's two ways to get there. There's the upper ledge road and the lower ledge road. So if you go the lower ledge, you can go right up to the edge of the water and then look up at the 60-foot rock hill mound, and it's straight up. Or you can go the upper ledge road, and you can drive right up to the top of the ledge. So,
gotcha.
Either way you get there by car.
Any indications of occult activity up there? Satanic graffiti or candles and sacrifice?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's always been graffiti there. I don't even know how they got some of that stuff up there on the side of that incline, that ledge. You'd have to hang by ropes, unless you're a good mountain climber. But there's a lot of graffiti on the rocks over there, yeah. That's for sure.
Okay. I'd say, what a place to work, man. I'd say, would you ever think about just quitting and getting the hell out of there?
Quit is not in my vocabulary.
Gotcha.
My dad said if you're going somewhere and you want to go somewhere in life and you can't find the road, then blaze your own path. So, and when I was going through my problem with discrimination here in the town on the police department, if I didn't quit then there's no quitting me. Like I said, I was put 30 years of it. Never ended until I retired.
Now, even while you were a cop or after you retired, were you ever contacted by these people in these cults and taunted by them, saying, I didn't even know 10% of what we were doing? Anything like that?
No.
Okay.
Well, when I was working, I got a couple of phone call threats, but that was it. And I got some stuff thrown on my lawn, some dead chickens with ribbons and so forth, sending me a message from what I would call Pio Mambe, the evil side of Santeria, because that's what we were also investigating. That was more or less cult activity too. But nothing that frightened me.
Okay, so now when you were describing the cult activity up there before, you're telling me now too that there was Caribbean type cult activity up there as well?
Yeah.
Really?
That was all on. Yeah.
So
it's called. Not here, but I was asked to by other communities to go there and see what they got, and where they would use voodoo dolls and so forth, throw them in the river and so forth. And it was the bad side of Santeria called Pio Mambe.
Right.
Which is devil worship also.
Now, from watching the film, the Bridgewater Triangle, they describe this lake up there that's only about 8 feet deep, but there's an unusual number of drownings in that lake. Well, what can you tell us about that?
Are you talking about Long Pond?
I guess so, yeah. I didn't write it down, yeah.
Yeah. There's been quite a few drownings, but it's a busy place, especially in the summer. With boating, it's like 5 or 6 mile long. Goes between Freetown, town of Freetown, and town of Lakeville. A lot of houses around it and so forth. And but I think that there is a unusual amount of drowning, I would say, there, but I don't know if it's uncommon compared to other lakes and ponds around with boating accidents and so forth.
Gotcha.
I never even compared it. So,
have you ever looked into the smiley? Yeah, have you ever looked into the smiley face killers?
No.
Young men, college age, healthy, that die in bodies of water, and nearby you'll see a spray painted smiley face or carved into a tree, anything like that. Anything like that? Any indication of where you were?
No, not at all.
Well, I'm sure you're going to be
I had heard about that.
You have heard about it, or you haven't?
I heard about it, not from people that tell me that. Not through any evidence or anything that happened in Freetown.
Not in your area. Okay, great. Now, what about this Mary Lou Arruda? What is her story?
Mary Lou, that was a tough case. That hurt me. I had a child that age.
Yeah.
She was a 15-year-old who was kidnapped off her bike in a community about 20 miles from us in Rainham. She was subsequently brought to the Freetown State Forest and murdered. 2 kids on dirt bike found her. I remember that distinctly. I'd only been on the job like 5 years. And when they told me that there was a body tied to a tree in the forest, and they saw it, and this was like November 11th, so I assumed it was a dummy from Halloween tied to a tree or something. So I went up there, and sure enough, it was a human remains, a young female tied to the tree, her neck was tied to the tree, and the rope worked its way through until her head fell off. So she was slumped at the bottom of the tree with her hands tied behind her back and her head alongside of her body. That was very traumatic. I was first off on the scene, took pictures and everything else, and cordoned it off with police tape and waited for everybody to arrive. And I took pictures and so forth, and we ended up contacting Rainham PD. She was identified, and the investigation continued there. Our Rainham had developed a suspect. So once the body was found and more evidence was found, and put it together and arrested James Cater for the murder of Mary Lou Arruda, and he was sentenced to life in prison. He subsequently died in prison. So that's where we stand on that.
And part of his defense, though, was that he tried to claim that it was a cult that did it?
Yeah, they tried to claim that it was cult activity because it was around the time because the cult murders happened, I think, in 79, 80. She was found in 1978 in the state forest, but there was no evidence of any satanic or cult link to her murder whatsoever. I had to testify to that in court because he was trying to pin it on somebody else to do with Satanists and so forth. Well, there's no evidence it was a satanic crime. There was more evidence that it was him involved. It also was, he had just got out of prison for serving, I think, 10 years for doing the same thing. The only thing, the girl didn't die. She was knocked unconscious and was able to untie herself and get free and testify against him, and he did 10 years. And then he was out a year or two and committed the same crime again.
10 years. It's just unbelievable that you could do something so horrendous. You only get 10 years. People think you get 40, 50 years for these things.
Yeah, because she didn't die. So
Yeah. Now, we only have about 5 minutes. Are there any cases I haven't asked you about that you want the audience to know about?
Well, we've had a lot of homicides in the state forest. We had one instance where this young 18-year-old in Fall River thought that the homeless person was an undercover agent for the police and was trying to find them and turn them in for smoking pot. They beat him up, kidnapped him, threw him into the trunk, brought him to the state forest, shot him 6 times with a shotgun, and then set him on fire. We subsequently arrested those 3 individuals for that. We found a couple other homicides were done by the mob hits, and they were left there in the state forest. And we could go on and on with the crimes that happened in the state forest, but including one that was involved a jury. That one was huge. It went all the way up to the mob family and so forth, and I got threatened by the mob, came to my house and so forth. It's a lot of crazy cases, but they would be their own story by themselves.
Yeah, I hear that. Now, what about, you hear all these stories too in the film, The Bridgewater Triangle, you hear all these stories about Bigfoot and stuff like that, or giant snakes, giant birds. Anybody make those kind of reports to you when you were a cop?
Oh, yeah. I
Really?
used to get them all the time. Oh, yeah.
Did you find them credible?
used to see a lot of. I found a couple credible because I knew the people. They were upstanding members of the community. They didn't want to advertise. They said this is just for my own knowledge because they didn't want people to. They didn't want the media to get involved because they would felt like they were going to look stupid.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've seen some strange stuff myself.
Oh, real quick, we got like 1 minute. What have you seen?
Well, that bird that everybody's talking about with a huge wingspan. I saw that not too long ago, 2 years ago, after I retired. I couldn't believe it. I thought it was an airplane.
Wow.
Geez, I just can't think offhand, but there's like a ton of stuff.
We're out of time anyway, man, but I tell you, this has been a thrilling. This has been great stuff, Alan. I can't thank you enough, man. This is really, really good content. Alan Alves, you can find him in The Bridgewater Triangle. It's his documentary film. It's free if you have Amazon Prime. You can go watch it for free right now. And he runs this place called South Coast Hypnosis Center at southcoasthypnosis.com. If you want to quit smoking, I'm sure you can get over some trauma, too. Confidence building, heartbreak, relationship, all kinds of stuff of hypnosis I find to be very effective for. Alan, what do you want to leave us with?
Hypnosis, medicine for the mind.
There you go. Thank you so much, my friend. Anything comes up, you want to come back and tell us some stories, man. We'd love to have you back.
Okay, great. Love to be here.
Good night.
All right.
And now a word from our sponsors. OppermanReport.com. Hey, do you like what you're hearing? Do you like the work that you see us doing here at Opperman Report? You can support that work by becoming a member at OppermanReport.com. And as you have access to over 200 exclusive shows and interviews that you can't find on YouTube or Spreaker or iHeart or iTunes or KYAH. You can't find them anywhere else online, exclusive to our member sections, to our members. Also, too, there's images, videos, documents, court docs. And don't forget, you can hear your ad played here on the Opperman Report, reach hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people on a daily basis because the show is repeated every day all over the world. Contact me at oppermanreport@gmail.com and I'll give you a good deal on advertising rates.
Have you ever thought about opening your own mobile cart or kiosk business? Maybe the facility you manage could establish new revenue by adding coffee, food, or retail services. Cart King International can be the answer to your needs. Cart King is a North American designer and manufacturer of the finest mobile coffee, food, and retail carts and kiosks. Cart King has been working with clients and corporations across North America for 20 years, providing innovative designs, custom manufacturing, and timely delivery. Carts and kiosks are fun, and so are the dozens of designs on our website. Please visit us today at www.cart-king.com or just call us at 1-877-986-7771 and get your sales rolling.
The Opperman Report is brought to you by Aquadam.net. You can give them a call at 707-764-2119. A flooded home is never easy to deal with. You're left with the mess to clean up, the insurance companies to deal with, and not to mention all the memories, the precious memories that are lost in the flood. You can never replace those. And Aquadam can be a tool in your arsenal to protect your home and property from the floodwaters. The cofferdam is filled with water to control water and is reusable as long as it's taken care of. It can protect your home or business from rising floodwaters like a dam, but without the beavers. It can also be used in construction. If you need an area to be dewatered, an Aquadam can do the job. An Aquadam was used at SeaWorld in Orlando for the Mako roller coaster ride during the coaster's construction by dewatering the work area. An Aquadam is now dewatering the work area at San Antonio SeaWorld for their newest roller coaster ride. An Aquadam has been used in many construction projects all around the U.S. and all around the world. Now give Aquadam a call, 707-764-2119. You can look them up online at aquadam.net. You can find them on Facebook at Aquadam Inc. You call them up, you email them, you tell them Ed Opperman sent you, and they're going to take 10% off the price. Aquadam.net, 707-764-2119.
Are you ready to change your life, but don't know how to start? Is your stress and worries keeping you awake at night? Have you been battling grief, anxiety, or depression all alone? Have you lost touch with your own sense of being or spirituality? Soul Free Therapies offers professional and affordable live video streaming counseling and coaching services from the comfort of your own home. Sessions offered in English, Spanish, and Portuguese. Go to our website at www.soul-free.com and book your first session today.
If you find yourself in need of legal representation, it can be a very stressful time in your life. In my career, I have dealt with thousands of lawyers, I've dealt with thousands of law firms, and I can confidently recommend to you Keith M. Davidson at kmdlaw.com. Available 24 hours, 7 days a week. Just log into kmdlaw.com. That's kmdlaw.com. Or you can call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. That's 833-4KMD-LAW. Personal injury, wrongful death, STDs, sexual assault, car accidents. They handle it all efficiently and professionally. It doesn't matter how imposing the opposition may be, because the team at kmdlaw.com are battle-tested and fierce. They will not stop until justice prevails. Go to kmdlaw.com or call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. If you're in for the fight of your life, stop screwing around and contact KMD Law. PureSoapFlakes.com. 218-568-2525. Have you ever heard of Castile Soap? Pure Soap Flake Company handcrafts fine soap bars, laundry powder, and concentrated soap flakes using organic vegetable oils from their northern Minnesota facility. Bathe your body and wash your clothes with Pure Soap products that are free of fragrance, GMOs, palm oil, sodium lauryl sulfate, and synthetic additives. Keep it clean, folks. Pure Soap Flake Company products are kind to living creatures and sensitive skin, safe for drains and waterways, and work great in high-efficiency washers and top and front-loading machines. They have a little promotion going on. Contact them to order some soap. Mention the Opperman Report. You're going to get a free gift. They're going to send a little extra soap, travel size, soap bars and laundry soap, cleaning soap flakes. I've been using that stuff all day long today. Great stuff. Order today at puresoapflakes.com or give them a call, 218-568-2525. 218-568-2525. Pure Soap Flake Company is a proud member of the Handcrafted Soap and Cosmetic Guild.